Hey there, and welcome to the first ever episode of Audience with the Admin. I'm Amelia Ward, here with our guest, Principal Dellerba. How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. It's good to be back in school.
That's good. Me too. Let's start off. We got a real toughie. What
All
is
right.
your middle name?
My middle name is Paul. In my family, we had a history of the firstborn boys being middle named after the grandfather. So Paul is my grandfather's name.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. What are your toppings on your perfect pizza?
Oh, I'm a like bring the protein guy. So give me pepperoni, give me Italian sausage, give me some andouille sausage, but you can hold on to the Canadian bacon. I don't believe in Canadian bacon on a pizza. I like it for breakfast. So give me some meat pizza and I'm good to go.
All right. Does that mean you don't like pineapple on pizza?
I don't, but my girls, I have two little girls. Their favorite pizza is pepperoni and pineapple, and so often I'm getting it just because they get the power and control in deciding what's going to be on the pizza. So,
Interesting. Switching to a more serious note, when it comes to graduation, what's the process look like for when you graduate and they come up on the stage?
I mean, the planning starts months in advance. I'm excited that we're going to be back in Memorial Coliseum hopefully this year. To be in like a large setting. I think it's really about celebrating the senior class, and so there are a lot of details that go into planning that. We have a couple of staff members, especially Marie Chaklas and Ms. Beeler and Mr. Malone, who have run many of those graduations, and it's about setting up a special day, and so and putting those elements together so that when students come and have that experience of going through graduation, it does feel like a rite of passage. It feels like a transition into the next part of their lives, but also some really traditional elements. I think my favorite part of graduation is the part where students get to clap out at the end. Hopefully people remember when they came to Walton High School and walking through the halls, that first awkward time as a ninth grader, and all the teachers are there clapping, and that's also the way that they finish here. I think there's some kind of really neat symbolic things that I look forward to, but mostly it's about seeing seniors as they come across the stage and remembering all those personal interactions and the things they've been through and the successes they're going on to. It's just a really fun experience, but a lot of work goes into planning it.
Yeah. Wow, that sounds great. I can't wait to graduate. Jose asked, can my teacher give me my diploma when I graduate?
Um, so we have a tradition in our school of if a staff member has a kiddo that comes to the school, that they usually will do that. But I think we can grant unique requests. I mean, we've been through COVID, and we've been through a pandemic together, and we're going through a pandemic both. There's always a chance for unique opportunities. So Jose, I think you should ask that teacher, and that teacher will come ask me, or you can ask me.
We have some questions for you about the way things are around school. Why is the Wolf Den, the relaxation one, not the store, only open certain hours?
Right now, it all is about staffing. So in an ideal world, I'd have enough staffing to have that Wolf Den open all the time. But right now, I don't have the funding to do that. I think that's definitely a long-term goal. When we put the den together as an idea, we wanted a place for students to be able to go and regather, and if they're feeling anxious, if they're feeling upset about something, they just need a moment to be mindful. I think that's where the idea for the Wolf Den was born. So that students had a place to go to be anchored outside of their counselors and teachers they trust and friends they trust, just an additional space. But unfortunately, I don't have the staffing right now that's required to keep it open all the time, but it's definitely a goal.
Interesting. Now, we had quite a few questions surrounding the bathrooms. I doubt you have much control over this, but I'm sure you're aware of the obscenely large gaps between the stall doors and stall corners.
Yeah, I think we're required. Are we talking about the new bathrooms?
Just
Yeah.
general.
Those are standards that are developed by engineers, and so when we were building this building, when the new additions, especially the new bathroom, like I could give input on things, but when it comes to like the general height of the bottom of a stall or the distance in a stall, those are things that are determined by like professional engineers, and it's based on like construction codes and all those other things. So those aren't something I get to control.
Okay.
But it's something we have to follow, unfortunately.
Similar question. The majority of the school bathroom faucets are timed, and the problem with that is it's set too short to adequately wash your hands without pressing it again, canceling out the washing I've already done. Thoughts?
I think you have to be like really testing your ballet and flexibility skills. If you've been in any airport in America, you're doing the tap and the get quick wash. I think that's the same it is here. I think although the faucets in the bathrooms across from the counseling center stay on longer. So if that's really a thing for you, go use that bathroom.
Good to know. The fact our school provides free feminine hygiene products, but some believe we could be doing more for our students. A few students ask if it's possible to supply more menstrual products in the restrooms, with Daphne specifically asking if a wider variety of products could be supplied, since one size doesn't work for everyone.
That's definitely good. And I think as you implement something, you learn about what you're doing right and doing wrong as you go along. And as you guys probably know, that's new this year. And it was really coming from student voice, that movement came from students wanting that request, along with kind of changes at the state level. Let me talk to our custodians, see what we can do.
Thank you.
When we order stuff. Yeah.
Moving towards the gastronomical side of TUHS, what's the deal with the school food? But
Well,
seriously, there's a major difference from now and 2 years ago when it comes to the entire lunch program. So we're wondering what's up.
Well, I think a lot of things are what's up. I think COVID restrictions have changed a bunch. I think also, we charged for food in the past, and right now we're under a federal program, so we don't have to charge students. That's the one positive side. Like, I think that was something that always concerned me as a leader in a school, that we have these great options, but I have a lot of students who just can't. And it forced them to fill out a form if they wanted to. Now any student can grab anything. I do think there are some issues with the supply line in this country right now. And I think a lot of why you're seeing a variance in our food options is really based on what they have available to them. I've had lots of conversations with our new director, Ms. Leong, about what's going on in the supply chain and how do we continue to improve those meals. I do think that there are some good ones that they've had this year. I really like I call it slumgoyan because that's what my grandma called it, but like the pasta combination with a little bit of red sauce and some like chicken and other stuff mixed in. Like I think they're doing the best they can with the supplies they have, and our people who work in the kitchen work really hard to give our students some choice. But I'm hopeful that we'll go back to a time, when COVID starts to kind of decline, where we can get back to more student choice and some of the regular things we did in our previous menu. We'll get back to that point, but some things have to change, like with health restrictions first.
Yeah, that's completely understandable. Our viewers had a variety of questions in regards to scheduling, but specifically about earlier release time or days off in the middle of the week. But isn't the schedule overall governed by ODE more than the school board or THS admin?
I think it depends. So I think one thing we learned from students in surveys when we first went to COVID is the 10 o'clock start time was probably too late. But there is a ton of research around teenage sleep habits and the needing to sleep in longer. I think what usually happens when it comes to the transportation and start times, it really depends on what bus schedules can do. I was really hoping for kind of a in between 8 and 9 start time, but it just wasn't possible to get buses from the middle schools over here quick enough. They need a 15 or 20 minute turnaround time. And so 8:55 was the number we landed on. I will say that overall in the first few months of school, our attendance was some of the higher attendance numbers we've ever had since I've been here 5 years. And it has pushed out athletics longer and activities after school longer to kind of longer in the evening. And so I know our student athletes and our coaches have they've had to bear the brunt of that impact. But I think when I look at our school in general, it's healthier for students to be at school a little bit later.
Yeah, I definitely like sleeping in.
Yep.
On the COVID train, William asks, what are the chances that the mask mandate will be lifted indoors?
I don't know. That really is a decision that's beyond my abilities. That's something that comes from the governor. I think when we were if you asked me that question in October or November, I would have said maybe we're around the new year. But with the emergence of Omicron and how much it's transmitted and how easily it's transmitted, I think we're likely to see masks for a while. But again, that would just be conjecture at this point. Like, I'm not sure.
Okay. Many upperclassmen have expressed frustration with the logistics regarding the parking lot in the afternoon. Many have work and their ability to arrive on time is up to fate, it seems, on whether or not they can escape the 4 o'clock rush hour. How do you feel about the parking lots north and south?
Well, I wish they would have seen it 5 years ago. 5 years ago, we didn't have one-way traffic, and it took probably twice as long to get out of here. I think if they asked their older siblings what it was like when they went here, when we redid the parking lot, we moved to one-way traffic, and that parking lot empties out way quicker than it ever did before. I've also been in 5 different high schools, and it's a problem at every school I've ever been at when students are driving to school. So, I mean, sorry. That's probably the best I can offer, but when you're getting that many people in and out of a space, it takes a little bit of time. And considering that we also have buses in that same space, that's why we created 2 lanes. There used to only be one lane too. So we've done the improvements in construction to try and mitigate some of that and make traffic better. So don't know what to tell you. It's a little better than it used to be.
At least it's better than it used to be. And to round out our chat, we've had some students upset about racism, as anyone should be, but they feel the school isn't doing enough in terms of education or consequences. How do you respond to that?
I don't think schools are ever doing enough. I think racism is a social construct that's been around as long as we've been a country. But because it's a social construction, it has to be socially deconstructed. Something that has a history that's 300-400 years deep in this country. It's going to take some time to unwind it. It's not as fast as I want it to be. It causes pain, it causes harm. But we are committed to disrupting it here. And we've had a number of incidents this year where we've had to confront students about their speech, confront students about graffiti they've done, confront students about comments they've made in class. And so we're committed to that work over time. We have what's called a EASH plan, an EASH plan, that is about interrupting hate speech at our school. We're sort of in the first year of this. Our school district just passed a school board policy around specific to hate speech and anti-bias work. And so we're committed to doing that over the next few years. It'll take a few years to implement. Some of that work is going to be done with our student body and how do students disrupt hate speech across the school, in their classes, in the hallways. How do adults react to that work? We have some work to do as a staff around microaggressions. And so I'm committed to listening to how students experience our school differently. And I meet with some student leaders on a regular basis in our student voice council to hear about those feelings and beliefs they have about our school. But to me, it's a priority, but it's going to take some time and commitment. And I just have to be able to listen to what students are experiencing here. It certainly isn't something that we accept.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming and speaking to me.
Anytime. I'd love to come back.